TS Nutrition, just off of plane from Tacoma, Washington. Flew out of SeaTac back at home in Chicago. I had a great event there at Complete Nutrition in Tacoma. Amazing event, amazing store. And by the way, we are making our way into all Complete Nutrition stores. If we're not currently in your Complete Nutrition near you, feel free to go in there and mask them. Say, hey, you need to rush this along. Make sure that you get your MTS Nutrition right now. On to my topic, refeeds. Do you need them? Who do they benefit? How should I do these refeeds? Refeeds are a big thing. I utilize them for my clients. Personally, I don't really refeed. I'll tell you what I do later because I think it's what a lot of people should do anyway. But the point of refeeds is for a couple reasons. Physiologically, people believe that it resets your metabolism. And I'll get into the science behind that and why they're probably wrong later. Refeeds also, they stimulate leptin. They supposedly have some effect on thyroid hormone, or so it's thought. There's more research that has come out on refeeds. And above all else, and I'll get into this later too, psychologically, knowing that you get to refeed or have a free meal, which means that you could take a break off your stringent diet, just gives you an opportunity to kind of take a mental vacation or a mental break from the stringent of essentially partial starvation, which is dieting. You're essentially, in a way, starving yourself, or at least, eating less intake. So it is a form of starvation, even though you're not completely starving. So psychologically, it helps. Also, we have been known as an athletic society to carb up before training events, to carb up before athletic events. Carbing up, hell, I even carved up before football games in high school. Carb up before bodybuilding events. Carbing up is definitely a part of our athletic endeavors. We do them. It's done in most sports that are very competitive: football, soccer, basketball, and so on and so forth. Now, my opinion is refeeds, scientifically, we'll get into that a bit later. Now, my personal use of refeeds or periodic overfeeding, which is generally speaking for me, if I have a person, and it depends on the individual, how well they deal with carbohydrate. Certain people are just better evolutionarily as a species, as a human being, through their genetics and whatever, through their genotype, at processing carbohydrate or utilizing that carbohydrate for energy and not using it to spike insulin to store fat. So what happens is, I believe that those people are the ones who you see are going to be naturally lean. Now, my opinion is, the way I use it is, if you are under 15% body fat, that's when I believe that it can have some benefit. If you're over 15% body fat, there is no physiological reason, even empirically, that I can think of that you will need a refeed. Now, what I usually like to do is, let's say someone's eating 100 grams of carbs a day. I'll spike them to 300 grams of carbs. Maybe lower the fat a little bit to offset. Maybe not. It just depends on the person. Depends on how stuck they are, how lean they are. But my thing is, I want to jack up your calories and mainly do that through carbohydrates. So, I mean, if you're already at 100 or less grams of fat a day, I'm gonna probably just leave it as is. I'm not gonna drop it much lower, but because that takes away the whole benefit of increasing your calories, which I believe is just as effective, if not more effective, than increasing carbohydrate. So here's why it doesn't work as well on fat people. Fat people essentially are storing energy throughout their body. It's essentially like having donuts fucking strapped to your body. You got donuts on your fat ass arm, you got donuts on your fat ass, you got donuts on your fat legs, you got donuts on your fat stomach. You're just a big fucking bag of donuts strapped to your body that your body can go to for all the energy storage it needs. Okay, so being fat, you don't necessarily need that. And also remember, the fatter you are, your leptin is. Leptin is the hunger hormone. So the more fat you have, the less your body's gonna be like, well, fuck, I'm hungry, because leptin is controlling that hunger. So you're not gonna be as hungry. It's not really that big of an issue. And again, that's the thing. So if under 10%, now here's what science says. They actually had these overfeeding studies done. And if you do a simple day-long refeed, according to the data, it's not gonna do much at all. Unless you take in an absurd, inhumane amount of food. Over 2 days, not much. It can take 2, 3, 4, even 5 days to elicit a change where your hormones actually get in that non-dieting mode, where you're actually not in that whole survival mode, where your body adapts its metabolism to your diet. Because that's why people stall on diets. So unless you take a diet break for 2 to 5 days, it's really not going to do much. And that's why for some people, taking a diet break or a couple days off might actually be beneficial. Now, so science says that. My experience is much different. I find that I could diet people just great up until around 8 to 10%. Around that time, stick points are hit. Now, as a coach, if you already maxed out cardio at 45 plus minutes per day, if you've already lowered calories to, let's say, a gram of protein per pound of body weight, 0.3 grams of fat per pound, and less than 100 grams of carbs, you don't want to take calories any lower. What do? You don't want to make that person suffer with more activity. And studies, you want to go to studies. Studies have also shown that exercise isn't that great for fat loss. Like, it's not the holy grail. In fact, they did one study on marathoners, right? And they took these average people, male and female, and they found modest fat loss and no fat loss in the women, because what they would do is they compensate by eating more carbohydrate. So diet is essentially the best way to lose fat. Diet is the way to lose fat. Whereas for training, we're looking at adaptation and progressive overload, build more muscle and all that good stuff. And obviously the benefits on insulin and nutrient partitioning and all that. So my experience tells me, and I even wrote that in this Cut Diet book that I wrote with Chuck Rudolph and Derek Charleboy in 2004, I like periodically refeeding. And I like doing that once or twice a week, depending on the leanness and how close they are to the show and how low the calories are. We're essentially have periods of overfeeding, generally speaking, an entire day where we increase your carbohydrate, and we take it from the normal clean. I use that word very loosely. Used to use from that. But right now, if I have someone refeeding, I really don't give a fuck what they get the carbs from. I just want them to get the extra carbohydrate, because generally speaking, they'll be a little bit, it'll be hard to get in the calories, especially if they're not used to that many calories. But generally speaking, 1 to 2 times a week, I like to overfeed by 200 to 300 grams of carbs a day for those 2 days. So that would be my periodic refeeding. Now, while science says you need longer to adapt and to elicit those changes in leptin and in thyroid, and basically to reset to where you were pre-dieting, or at least at a better level than you are, anecdotally speaking, when I refeed somebody, they'll intrinsically have a 1 to 3 pound weight gain the day or two after. And then they'll actually beat their previous best those days thereafter. Now, again, if you are also on a lower carbohydrate diet, I believe it's just good to take in some carbohydrate every about 7 days or even 2 weeks, just to get in some carbohydrate. And because, fucking bagels are delicious, So my thing is, physiologically, it's not really necessary to have refeeds unless you're going for a super physiological degree of leanness. It's not really necessary. But I do believe when you get leaner and the leptin drops down, which is the hunger hormone, and your cravings kick in, you feel like a 20-year-old female who's PMSing, who overmenstruates. Here's the deal. Even if it does fuck all physiologically, here's what a periodic refeed will do. Number one, you will feel like a fucking god the next day training. Your glycogen stores will be full. Now, your body produces just fine amount of glycogen for your body. Your body will, I think your liver produces about 70 grams and your muscles hold about 120 grams. So you're at like 170 to 200 grams of carbohydrate produced and stored by your body at a time. That's really all you need for survival, unless you're an extreme athlete and you burn through that. But as bodybuilders, physique athletes, we're lucky to burn 50 grams of carbs on even the hardest workout. So my opinion is, when you're lean, under 15%, you should refeed. I do believe, even though science doesn't say it really does, the new science, empirically speaking, from what I've seen coaching over 1,000 people in my career, and winning, helping people win various pro cards in various organizations, I do believe at least one-time refeed a week is necessary. Up until a week out from the show, then you deplete and super compensate. That's a different video about peak week. Nobody here, very few people compete who watch this. Over 15%, I still recommend you do a form of refeed. And here's why. Mental. Never, ever, ever call it a cheat meal. There's a huge psychological negative connotation to cheating. Think about the word cheat. Barry Bonds, cheater. That guy's a cheater. He didn't win, he's a cheater. Cheat on your wife, cheat on your spouse, you're a piece of shit, right? Cheater, 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 cheater. Don't use that word. If you have a meal that is off your program, it is called a free meal because we planned it in there. If you have a refeed, you call it a refeed. So I'm going to tell you exactly what I do right now. I'm going to tell you what you should do if you're not competing. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to answer some questions. And I'm going to give this about 30 to 40 minutes. We're going to have a good time. What I would recommend you do is don't plan your refeeds. Don't. You're not competing. Chances are you're not on a stringent diet. And if you are, loosen the fuck up. You're not competing. You know what? Don't be so stringent. Don't measure every morsel of almond butter you take in. Sure, measure your proteins, measure your fats. But hey, if you're 1 or 2 grams off, again, the thermodynamics of 10 to 40 calories really isn't shit. Your body does not fucking know. And also, if you just park a space further at Walmart, you're going to burn that shit off anyway. Okay, here's what I recommend you do. Don't cheat on your diet. Don't purposely go out and buy a loaf of bread and fucking eat the whole thing. What I'm saying you do is if you go out to dinner with your family, if your mom, your wife, whatever phase of life you're in, cooks a meal, eat that motherfucker. Because if you're like the average American family, mom ain't cooking every night. If it's the once a week that Katie puts together a casserole, you should probably fucking eat her casserole, right? So at the end of the day, have a free meal. Have a free meal every 4 to 14 days and just eat. I'm not saying binge or gorge. I have a no buffet rule for my clients, but binging is not acceptable. Eat till you're full, till you're content. Don't eat for the sake of eating. That's what a cheat meal would be. That's what that word cheat puts in your mind. But if you have a free meal and you enjoy the food you're eating anyway, I enjoy my normal food. So it's not like, it's almost like I don't even really need it, but I figure the carbohydrate's going to give me a great workout the next day. So what I recommend you do if you're not competing, have a free meal. Eat a normal meal. That means go to the restaurant. When you order your steak, don't get it without steak butter. When you order when you go to Texas Roadhouse, eat some of the bread. You know, it's one of those where you just have a normal meal. That'll happen naturally for most people that I work with every 4 to 14 days. And if you have that opportunity, go ahead and take it. Now, if you are competing, I do believe in a strategic controlled refeed. Why? Because competing, you have a deadline and you have to be ready in that time. But if you're just looking at living healthy, looking great, or even losing, let's say 20 pounds over a long-term period, like 6 to 12 months, that's the way to do it. That's my opinion. While science might not agree with me, I have enough empirical data to say, look, there's going to be more studies and it might disprove the other studies. So while we do know it takes about 5 days to actually do anything for resetting your leptin, your metabolism, and blah, 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 even if it's just for physiological or some kinesiological benefits, then you will be in a great spot just having a free meal here and there. Anyway, guys, that's my spiel. That's my monologue for the day. Let's get to some questions. All right. Why are they not popping up? There they are. All right. We're going to start at the beginning. What's up, Gonzo? Wearing the same shirt. F yeah. Dan, what's up, bro? Hey, from South Carolina. What's up, Josh? How you doing, brother? I think we spoke this morning on the affiliate group or the group, whatever. I refeed with ice cream every night before bed. That wouldn't be a refeed. That'd be eating ice cream. And if you're still getting results and you're enjoying life, enjoy that fucking ice cream. Hey, Mark, I want to ask, for a hairy guy who wants to do a show, does he have to shave or wax? It depends how fast it grows back. I don't have that problem. I'm extremely not hairy. But I have very fair skin and fair hair and a very fairly large penis. What I would recommend is, usually I don't recommend shaving if you have a Saturday show past Thursday. So if you already have stubble Friday, Saturday, wax before that, because if you do it the first time, you might have severe irritation. You know, I'm a keto and fat adapted. If I carb up, I'll really get ill for a couple days. If you're fat adapted, Gonzo, that means you should be able to intake carbohydrate, not get ill, and your body will be able to switch to being a fat operative ketogenic machine. So you are not fat adapted if you're still having ill effects from carbs. Fat adapted means you can switch over from glucose to ketogenesis relatively quick. I'm fat adapted right now. I think you're just in ketosis. And I think introducing carbs here and there will help you live a more fluid and sustainable lifestyle. Is it safe to carb up, say, once a week if you're on keto? I believe it is. Very safe. I love strapping donuts to my fat ass. Well, I'd love to eat the donuts off your fat ass, John. Aloha, Trevor. What's the benefit of carbing up if I am fat adapted? Well, I mean, here's the deal. It's psychological mainly. Psychological. But I don't know how lean you are going, Gonzo. But if you're under 12% body fat, like refeeding with fat does not have any of the benefits of refeeding with carbs, in my opinion. Even intrinsically, even psychologically. It just, I mean, keep in mind, carbohydrate, especially sugar, triggers the dopamine reactors in your brain, which just makes you feel fucking happy. So it's kind of like just a little cocaine binge, which we all do here and there. I tore my labrum. I have surgery in the next 2 weeks. I'm currently trying to lean out just a little more than maintain. What do you suggest during recovery? Keep leaning out. At the end of the day, what's going to dictate your diet, your diet or your weight loss is going to be your diet. Exercise does not burn all that many calories. Keep doing what you're doing, and it shouldn't really affect your progress. I herniated disc in my lower back. Should I completely stop working out and focus on healing my back? You should go to rehab. And I can't diagnose things over YouTube Live. Nor can I at all. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a fucking meathead. Hey, Mark, I'm competing in 4 months, and I'm planning to drop down at least 3 to 4% body fat. You're not going to get to 3 to 4% body fat, bro. Even me at my leanest was not 4%. Alberto Nunez is not 4%. You die. But I can't tell what percent it is when I'm below 10, so how do I know if reach 4? You're not going to reach 4. You're not going to reach 4. Here's how you know you're ready. Are your glutes shredded? Do you have veins sticking out of every orifice? That's when you're fucking ready. Do you have a Christmas tree in? Don't worry about body fat. There is no accurate way to measure it past a certain percentage anyway. I haven't measured my body fat in years because I'm always under 6%, and it's just fucking inaccurate as fuck. Calvin King, New Mexico. Is it true that a diet is better than training for losing weight? They work synergistically with one another, but generally speaking, caloric expenditure during training, there's plenty of data to show that training alone isn't very effective for fat loss. They have studies on marathoners mainly, but I'm guessing most of it, the only reason weight training is different is because its effect on insulin sensitivity, GLUT4 uptake, and also its effect, obviously the insulin glucagon thing, and also its effect on muscle mass, which will increase your metabolism. So is it better to start a solid diet before you start a training regimen? Why would you not you should always be exercising. Even the federal government recommends exercising every day. Like exercise and eat good. It's really not that hard, man. So for someone who isn't doing a show, but still training to get relatively lean, could do a cheat meal a week, pizza, or you suggest higher refeed. I answered that in my monologue, Joseph. You should have waited. Because I answered it. If I want to grow my legs more, should I eat more on that day? Muscle growth isn't going to be that acute. It's over time. Muscle growth is stress and overload progressively over time. And unless you're on steroids, then you're just fucking superhuman. So here's the deal. Where that would make sense is it would help with recovery after leg training. There is great data suggesting that carbohydrate post-workout does increase recovery or reduce recovery time. Or you could take it in pre-workout to give you more energy and strength and glucose in your system during training. However, by eating more carbohydrate or calories on leg day, I don't think it's going to do fuck all for your gains. No problem, Calvin. What type of cardio would be best to grow my calves? Steps. I mean, it's not going to grow them. Your calves are genetic. I mean, just train them like everything else. That's like asking what kind of cardio is best to grow my chest. That's not how you grow your chest. You grow your chest with progressive overload. Now, I could assume, based on that theory, that if you start with 10 minutes of step mill a day and you move up to 12 a week later, that is progressive overload. But there's also not enough trauma or breakdown occurring because you're not eliciting that kind of a hypertrophic response. It's more of an aerobic versus anaerobic response. So I really don't think you should worry about that. Just do your cardio. By the way, Benjamin Bickman is very informative. He is a G. I would love to meet that guy. Do you like football balls? No fake cookies. Yeah, Courtney. Fuck. Courtney, just a little story behind that. Courtney had a free meal. And I usually don't tell people who I coach, but Courtney is one of my clients. And she had us, and I love the guys who own Sinister Labs. Scott's one of my best friends, but she's like, yeah, you know, I ate a... I'm like, so what'd you have for your free meal, man? I want to know because I like to live vicariously through other people's free meals. It's like watching your neighbors have sex through the window. And I'm like, I looked, and I'm like, she's like, oh, I had this, and this. Sinister Labs protein cookie, and I went off. I'm like, I'm firing you as a client if you ever eat a healthy cookie for a refeed. For a free meal, you go out and you go to fucking Mrs. Fields. And you say, Miss Fields, you fucking bitch, you whore. I want the biggest, fattest chocolate chip, fucking white chocolate macadamia. I want every chip put in there. I want to fucking get insulin shock and go into diabetic coma from this one fucking cookie. You hate me, I'm keto, I'm down 175, I'm US Marine vet, when I enjoy it. No, dude, I'm keto too. I'm in ketosis right now. Al, please, no beat me, I'm gay. Good for you, man. I wish I was gay. I do, and here's why. Because I'd be able to share clothes with my gay partner. I'd find a gay partner who wears the same size shirts as me, and I'd have like unlimited swag. I'd find, because you know, gay guys also have much more fashion sense than straight guys. So I'd not only have, you know, and all you guys are hornier, so I'd be having sex all the time. I'd be able to share clothes with him, and I'd always, you know, and it'd just be awesome. But unfortunately, I'm attracted to females, and in particular, one female, my wife. So yeah, you have fun with that anal. Greetings from Antarctica. You the man? Well, best fat loss carbs. None. There are none. I would argue that fruit and vegetables would be the best fat loss carbs because there's actually a study posted by Alan Aragon. If you guys don't follow Alan Aragon, we disagree on a lot of things, but Alan Aragon is an amazing guy. I've known him. In fact, when I came out with this motherfucking book, I've referenced it so many times. Alan and I used to go on the bodybuilding.com forums and argue about the validity of BCAA. But we did it respectfully, and we really became friends over the years, and I have nothing but respect for him, and I appreciate his dissent, and he's smart. So if I'm going to disagree with someone, it's going to be someone smart, and if I can actually debate him and not seem stupid, which I probably do, but that's really good. I love him. But yeah, Alan posted that there's actually a fat-burning effect, or it's been shown in data, nothing's conclusive in science. It's been shown that fruit actually helps you burn more fat. So I'd say fruit, and it also doesn't have the same insulin response as a processed carb. Fruit and green fibrous veggies. How often to refeed on a 13-week cut? Life on Mars, it depends how fat you are. And it depends on you and what your diet is in general. If I eat something like pizza, I get, oh, I'm fat, Dad, I've been keto for years, but I can really use your help. Honestly, you're eating foods your body's not accustomed to, and you're combining a very, let's say if your crust has gluten in it, there's 2 amino acids that form gluten that are not digestible by the body. They're the only amino acids that your body cannot digest. So you combine those with something hyperallergenic like lactose from cheese, and perhaps you have pepperoni, which is a processed meat. That's why you feel like shit. It's not the carbohydrate. It's the combination of different hard to digest, hyperallergenic foods that I think are causing your issues. So I would just not eat. See, here's what I do. I'm actually going to go, I promised my daughter we'd go to CPK, and I actually get my pizza without cheese because it doesn't affect my stomach. So I get the Thai chicken pizza, and I get it with no cheese. And it's actually better because the crust comes out like a fucking potato chip. Trust me on this. Thank me later. Or the barbecue chicken pizza with no cheese. What do you think of diet soda and sweet and low for coffee when trying to lose a little body fat? I drank, on my flight over here, I drank 3 bottles, the smaller ones, not a 2 liter, but like, the little ones you buy of Coke Zero. There's my thought. I'm doing keto and I need to pack some muscle. Any supplement I could take like Tren? Tren's not a supplement. It's an illegal steroid. Do I need to eat clean if I'm trying to put on size? I think you should eat foods that are not going to affect your health negatively, which are foods that do not cause large spikes in insulin, which are foods that are less processed, and which are foods that are high in micronutrients. I don't know what the fuck. No. Well, if I'm not falling for that, it's lick my nuts, blah, blah, blah. Come on, dude. I'm fucking 37, but I'm not your fucking grandfather, asshole. Hey, Mark, big fan. Does zinc increase testosterone? No. Deficiency in zinc is correlated with a low testosterone level, but taking zinc, if you have adequate zinc levels, intaking zinc will not increase your testosterone. No, zinc does not help test, Pheno Finder. You're wrong. Stop spreading misinformation on my channel, or else I will slap my dick on the screen or flick it. It's not very big. I agree with what you said. I've been having a cheat meal binge every week, and then I would feel bad for 3 to 4 days because I'm bloating and holding a lot of water. We'll now do a controlled refeed. I'm glad I could help you, Joseph. Yeah, Courtney. I'm so sorry I'm using these foul words around you. She knows me in a professional sense, except when I went off about the cookie. But seriously, my family, my mom used to own a cookie store in Simi Valley, California in the late 80s called the Cookie Company. My family recipe for cookies is so good. So Courtney, if you're ever in Illinois, I haven't made them in a while. My brother makes them all the time, but you're absolutely invited over to have some of them cookies, and we'll have a free meal. We'd love to have you. Hey, Mark, love you. The famous saying, it's leg day, I'm carbing up. LOL, your strategy on leg day and carbs. Carb up the night before, carb up pre and post. No, you don't. You don't need to carb up for a workout. Carb up for an event. A leg day is not an event because it should be happening 2 to 3 times a week. Wolf, you're about to get blocked for your lack of humor. Do some people have outrageously high metabolism to the point that their TDE is like 5,000 calories in sedentary lifestyle? Yeah, I believe, and I could be wrong. I believe there are some people who are much more efficient at utilizing sugar and carbohydrate for their energy rather than using it to store fat. And those are what you see in marathon runners and people who are naturally lean. I don't think the marathons are what making those people lean. I think generally speaking, marathoners are lean and then they start running marathons. I think it's more the genetics lead to the event because the studies have shown that when they took average people, sedentary people, and they ran a marathon, they actually got trained and ran a marathon, their fat loss was almost non-existent. In fact, that a male and female group, and the female group lost 0 fat. So I would surmise that running or being a marathoner, kind of like sprinters, will generally have high fast twitch when they start. Because I'm thinking about it, you're running in the schoolyard and people are like, well, fuck, you're fast. Man, I should probably go run track. And then next thing you know, you have fucking, Usain Bolt, or Carl Lewis, who's black, not Jewish. So I think that, I think that those people are naturally better at doing shit. For someone who's new to a show to get to around 10% body fat, is 100 grams of carbs about right? I don't know. I've known some people with 10% body fat who can eat 1,000 grams of carbs a day. I'm not fucking kidding. I've had those clients. And I've had people at 10 to 12% body fat who have to eat 50 grams of carbs. So the answer is, there's no fucking answer. It depends on the individual. No such thing as a phenotype, so to speak, or a body type. Mesomorph, ectomorph, endomorph doesn't exist. What exists is the individual, and that's you. So it depends on you. What's your opinion on L-carnitine for fat oxidation? I wouldn't look at it much for fat oxidation. There is some data that suggests it can. However, L-carnitine, what it has been shown to do is help to free bound testosterone and have other ergogenic effects in the body. However, I'll do an ingredient showcase on L-carnitine. I wouldn't put much stake in it as a natural fat burner, but it does help. It does help. Bananas for fat loss, how it sounds. Again, they can be a part of a fat loss plan, but taking a banana isn't like taking DNP or T3. It's not a fat burner. Fruit has fiber, which slows down the absorption of the sugar, but it's not a great source to lose weight. I'd have to disagree with him on that science theory. There's no science theory going, Gonzo. It's an actual study. You could look at Alan Aragon's Instagram. Whereas fruit is actually shown to not only be non-insulinogenic, but it's also been shown to help increase fat loss. Look it up. Also, if you're eating berries or the antioxidants within have been shown to dramatically increase fat loss. And I've even written books about that. Going to Chicago for a Drake concert this weekend. I'm going to enjoy myself. Any recommendation? Tim, if you're feeling frisky, I recommend the Purple Pig. The Purple Pig serves things like bone marrow and beef and pork tongue. It's basically everything from the pig. But for some reason, they make it taste really fucking good. And I'd also recommend Wildfire for steak. Wildfire is amazing. I can't think of the name. Wild Berries or something. Something berries for breakfast. Best breakfast spot in the city. And if you have time to go about 20 minutes up the road, you could head over to the Lucky Monk. They have some really good stuff. And if you want good pizza, there's obviously Lou Malnati's, the original Giordano's. So those are a good places to look at too. Should I get my carbs from Olo, sweet potato, etc.? Should I have a pita wrap, Ezekiel tortilla with some meals? Honestly, it doesn't really matter. But keep the carbs as whole as possible. I really enjoy front squatting rather than back squatting. Will that slow my leg development or create an imbalance? Nope. Front squatting is just as good, and it can be your entire squatting program. First time viewer, it seems to know what you're talking about. How can I lose my belly fat? Well, I'm going to say what I say every time, and I don't want to, since you're new, I don't want to scare you away, but I think you should know what you're getting into with this relationship. Renee, stop being so fucking fat. You lose belly fat by losing weight. And right now, you eat like shit, you don't train hard enough, and you're fat. So I have a book called Drop Factor Book. It's dropfactorbook.com. That's www.dropfactorbook.com. That'll give you a nice outline, but basically you lose belly fat by not being so fucking fat. It's just where you're going to lose fat. Do you believe it is possible to put on some size and lose fat at the same time through caloric deficit with positive nitrogen balance? Possible is, everything's possible. It's possible that lightning will strike through the window upstairs, come down here and hit me in the fucking nose. It's highly unlikely. So I would recommend that you would, diet if you want to lose fat, and then put on size if you want to put on size. Come get a lift here in Indy. I love you, Life on Mars, but fuck no. You could come to Illinois anytime. I train at Export in St. Charles, Illinois, but I'm not going to come to Indy just to train with you because I have a job and I'm running, I don't know, multi-million-dollar businesses and shit. How about we just do YouTube Lives and keep it to a long-distance relationship? Hey, Mark, what's up, buddy? Your opinion on metformin? Well, if you have diabetes, doctors will give it to you, but I don't believe anybody should take metformin for any kind of ergogenic benefit. Doesn't matter what I do. I am always lean and cannot put on weight. Well, you're one of those people who would have died during the caveman days, but right now, it makes you a superhuman. If training one muscle per day, and I want to be muscle, is this good? You can train one muscle a day, and you can get results from it. Brother, hope you and the family are doing well. Enjoy the weekend. Keep it vasky and stay swolly. God bless. And God bless you, Jose, for using all our taglines. Is Animal packed by Universal a good multi? I mean, it was in 1984. They have milligram amounts of branched chain amino acids, desiccated. I think it's kind of a silly product. I wouldn't buy it. Fast twitch versus slow twitch muscle. Well, I mean, what about it? They exist, and different people have different amounts of each, and you can change the recruitment, and there's also a fiber in between. There's fast twitch, slow twitch, and then there's another fiber which can either be fast or slow. And everybody has a different allocation of fast, slow, and neutral fibers. Marathoner also depends on the type of muscle you have, red or white. Hope that's not misinforming anyone. You are correct, but again, that's genetic. So generally speaking, you're not going to see a fat marathoner. So I believe there is probably a correlation between that and what kind of body type they have. That'd be a great research study, which I'm not going to fund. Prep diet, clean eating, and just about 6 weeks out from the competition. Bloating, tried elimination diet. There was no change, suggesting for troubleshooting. Adrift, unless I'm working with you, I really can't help you. And clean eating doesn't mean much to me. And you don't have time for the elimination diet right now because it'll take months, and you're 6 weeks out. I would stick to hypoallergenic foods. White rice, meat, red meat, chicken. Those are very hypoallergenic. And lay off of cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli and cauliflower and things like that can be very hard to digest. Hey, I was doing standing shoulder press with dumbbells and got a sudden pain in my lower back. Didn't have any issues until I took 10 days off. From now, I have slight lower back pain. Any suggestions? Get it checked out. I went to Planet Fitness Day and it sucked. There's no bench press or squat racks there. That's Planet Fitness. Love your content. Thank you. So our workouts, cardio and weight training don't burn much calories as we think, but combined with being in a deficit will provide fat loss. No ways to track calories burn. Really isn't. I mean, unless you hook yourself up to some magical machine. It just doesn't. And countless studies have shown that cardiovascular exercise is not the end-all be-all for fat loss. So your main tool for fat loss is going to be diet. Your second variant is going to be weight training. And then a distant third is cardiovascular activity, which simply creates more of an energy deficit. But generally speaking, diet, controlling insulin, and controlling calories will be the best ways to lose fat. I agree with on the berries, but not other fruits and oranges. Bananas, oranges give people low glycemic episode. You know what, dude? I just go by science, man. And whatever you feel is what you feel. I'm not here to debate it. I just speak science, and this isn't a debate. I'm not trying to get out for the debate squad. No one has to listen to me. But generally speaking, fruit, oranges, I mean, such a vast array of nutrients in oranges, and it's mostly liquid anyway. Unless you're drinking orange juice, you're good. Mark, we know you are at 6% body fat. You never really talk about leg growth, leg variations. Could you have an update on your legs? No homo, but show us those legs live. Sure. Oh, let's see. Oh, shit. Hold on, guys. Hopefully you get a shot of my dick. How's that? Am I disappointing anyone with these? Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. And anybody want to see my penis? Okay. Not that kind of cam show. I say we just leave the camera here, the dick shot. I'm back. Well, that was partially gay, wasn't it? Oh, we're almost done. Mark, if you want to go high fat and low carb, keto, how much fat should you take to replace the calories? Anyone with their own opinion, what's yours? It just depends. I believe that it doesn't really matter. I don't really care about ratios. I usually like a 1-to-1 fat to protein. So generally speaking, if I have someone whose body weight, I like you to get a gram. Okay, let me start over. What I want to do is get you a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Even if you're on a keto diet, I don't believe being in ketosis at all time is necessary. I want to keep your carbs to less than 20 grams from trace. And I'm going to fill in the rest with fat. So basically what you would do with someone not on keto would be, basically gram of protein per pound of body weight, 0.3 to 0.5 grams of fat, fill in the rest of carbs. With keto, I would do 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. And then I do 10 to 20 grams of carbs and fill in the rest of your caloric needs with fat. So that's how I would structure that diet. My online training rates are at marclobliner.com. That's MarcLobliner.com. RALA to increase insulin sensitivity. It can help. How many cups of plain coffee is safe for the day? Whew. I had 3 before I left, and this is my second one this size. So obviously about 492. I only slept 2 hours last night, so I don't have time to nap. I have a lot of work to do today after this, so I'm going to drink coffee, and I'm going to take fucking Clash, and I'm going to just run my adrenals into the ground. Don't do what I do. Kids, do not do what I do. Is bananas okay to spike insulin levels before the gym? Why in the world would you want to spike insulin levels before the gym? But bananas don't really do that well in spiking insulin. I mean, they're moderate. Do you take macrolution daily or only when you can't get a meal in? I usually go MTS whey, to be honest with you, but when I travel, I use macrolution if I'm hungry. Thoughts on energy drinks in terms of reasonable dosage? A diet soda's essentially same ingredients as energy drinks. I don't know much about the ingredients, but I will drink a Rockstar or a Bang or America Energy. And as long as they're no calorie, I'll drink the shit out of those. Are you accepting clients? Annette, I am absolutely accepting clients. I had a guy message me today, like, are you accepting blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I answered it all. He's like, are you sure you could take on clients? You're really busy. And I'm like, there's never been a day that goes by that I don't get everything I intended to do for the day done. I talk to all my clients daily. Courtney can vouch for that. It's just what I do. Hey, Mark, every time I take Clash pre-workout, I always have to piss during my workouts. Well, that's because you drank liquid. It's called kidneys. They work. Have you ever seen Tiger Fitness 5 years in the future? I can't speak for Tiger Fitness. I see them growing. I definitely see them being a force. I definitely see them bigger than bodybuilding.com. But I do see MTS Nutrition as, in 5 years, $150 to $250 million company easily. Yeah. In 5 years, absolutely. 100 to 150 million. I'll go 100 to 150. You're going to be at the Anaheim Expo? I haven't even talked to Sean about that. I know Sean's going to have a booth with Mike. Best workout split for building muscle? There is none, whichever one you enjoy most. What vitamins, micronutrients do you think are essential to look for in a multi? Well, I mean, what I do is I put in my machine multi, the RDA of all the essentials, man, all of them. What's your take on adrenal fatigue from overtraining? What'd you do to get rid of it? Adrenal fatigue, I have a video on this, is a complete, and an article too, is actually a made-up term, and it's bullshit. It was made up by a chiropractor who's not even an adrenal fucking specialist to sell supplements. Adrenal fatigue is a complete hoax. Who's your favorite rapper? At the moment, I think Kanye is just fucking good. His latest album was fire. Marc, I spoke to a local supplement shop, Top Fitness Nutrition, about MTS. They discussed having talked to you, but the cost to import was too expensive in Canada. They had to sell high. Could be. Is MCT oil best pre-workout, post-workout, or not at all? I take MCT oil, which we are coming out with under the Ambrosia line. I take it every day with my morning coffee. I have about a tablespoon. I just have it in the morning. MCT is great for quick energy. Very right, Gonzo. What do you put in your coffee? Any sweetener? I put Ritual AM and a little bit of stevia. What's up from Toronto? Oh, we're almost done. I'll be contacting you about becoming a client. Okay, Gonzo, I can't wait to work. You're a smart dude. Any discussion with distributors in Canada? Nobody really wants me up there for some reason. We used to have True North, but they kind of fucked me. So right now we're just at Amazon.ca. Amazon. Anyway, guys, we're done. 41 minutes in. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, have a great rest of your week.